Hey everyone, my name is Beverly and today I'm doing a get ready with me where I'm going to show you how I achieved this makeup look with this bold red lip but also this neutral eye. I'm testing out these magnetic lashes that I got for the first time, so if you want to see this look, stay tuned. Today I wanted to do my first get ready with me. Today I just kind of wanted to do my makeup but also reflect. I've just been doing a lot of reflection in this time, so I wanted to do my makeup and just chat. So let's get into that. These eyebrows. I'm gonna have to do these eyebrows off camera because that is a whole production. Now during this quarantine, my eyebrows have been looking rough. I've been using a tool. Where is it? I've been using a tool to do my own eyebrows. I saw this on a little infomercial. It's crap. My eyebrows have been looking really rough, so okay, much better, more defined. It took me about 8 minutes to do my eyebrows, so that's why I wanted to do it off camera because I didn't want to waste your time. But basically I just went and I shaped it up a little bit, I filled it in, and then I used concealer to kind of just shape it, pronounce the shaping. So let's get to the rest of the look. First thing I'm gonna do is prime my face. So I put this all over my face so that make my makeup matte, so that like if I sweat and stuff, my makeup doesn't run. So I'm gonna put that all over. So at the beginning I said I did want to talk about self-reflection. During this quarantine, all we have is time, and I've been thinking about like the future a lot and things that I wanted for my future, things that other people wanted for my future. I think I've spent a lot of this time, so I've been using a lot of this time to focus on things I prayed about in the past, but also do I want it for my future now? And also been thinking about like God's timing. Okay, God, what's in store for me? What is the reason for everything going on right now? The first thing I do is put on my foundation because that's the first layer to everything. So I use the Revlon Color Stay. I'm just gonna go in. But yeah, just focus. I've been using this time a lot to focus on God's timing and stuff and what He has in store for me. And that's when I look about like things in the past that I've wanted, and now I'm like, oh gosh, thank God for not answering that prayer that I had in the past. Like I've been looking at God's timing, but then I've all been like, a lot of things that I see, especially on YouTube and people talking about right now, is manifestation. And I haven't seen a lot of videos, but from what it just sounds like, it's just that you kind of write what you want, this $2,000 an hour, manifest your dream man, your dream car, your dream life. And I was curious about like, okay, what is this about? Like, how does this work? And what are we, just lifting up the whole lace and just ignore that. What is this manifestation all about? From the gist that I got from it, and someone can correct me if I'm wrong, you just kind of, it's just putting things in the atmosphere. You have gratitude about it. Say, oh, thank you for that, and you kind of put it into the universe, and that's how it becomes established to you. And I'm like, oh, okay, that makes kind of sense. But a lot now, when I say a lot, it's like, get anything you want when you manifest it. And then I started to think about it, and I'm like, what if what you want is not what God wants for you at this time? Granted, not to say that everyone who does manifestation stuff believe in God, but at least for me, it seems like it is similar to just faith, believe it. But I think the difference from what I'm seeing from manifestation and just general like belief in God and Jesus is that it's just that you manifest it and then it'll come true. You want money, power, car, all this stuff, and you manifest it, and you say thank you and you put it in an atmosphere and it'll come to you. And so when I was like thinking about it, I'm like, well, what if that's not what God has for you? Like, what if what you want, that's not what God has for you? Because even like, you may want $1 million, but maybe you don't need to have $1 million, because maybe you have a spirit of greed, the time where you think you want something but you wouldn't be able to handle it. Or maybe there's more that God has in store for you in the future, and you're just kind of focused on that like one thing. And for example, before I give that example, I'm gonna do my eyeshadow. This is the Gwen Stefani palette. I've had this palette for like years and I only use like 3 colors. I'm just gonna do it because I'm gonna do just this neutral color in my eyelid. It's called the Harajuku. And then I'm just gonna put this dark color, it's called Punk, in my crease. I don't want to do too much with my eyeshadow, but yeah, so just like testimony on me. And I think I have 2 testimonies actually I think I'm going to talk about. When I graduated from college, I had a really rough time and I wanted to go back to grad school at my same school that I went to undergrad. And I had to take, and I thought I was just a shoo-in. Like I was like, okay, I went here for undergrad, they'll definitely want me to come back for grad school, and all my friends were going back to grad school there, and I obviously wanted to be like with my friends, but they wanted me to meet these conditional requirements where I had to have this like high score on the GMAT, and you had to make like a 550 on the GMAT to meet unconditional requirements. So, like if you have a GMAT score and this GPA, you automatically get in. So I was like, okay, well, fine, let me take this GMAT again. And instead of getting a 550 to meet the unconditional requirements, I made a 500, which was not too bad, which is like 50 points away. So that should be good enough. And again, they denied. I'm like, y'all are tripping. And I was praying like all the time, like, God, like I'm trying, like I just want to go back to school. And I was thinking like maybe I'm gonna wait and not go back to school, but I was like praying like, God, let me pass this GMAT, let me make a 550 on my GMAT score so I can go back to school and start my career and stuff. And I didn't make it, and I was like, God, I'm just praying about school and education, like isn't this prayer answered? But then I like still prayed on it, thought about it, and I actually ended up going to another school, which was a much better school. I went to the same school my older sister went to, and with that I met like really good friends, and it was more of a faith-based school. I'm glad I ended up going to that school because I feel like it strengthened my faith. After going to that school, I met really good people and I strengthened my faith, and I felt like I learned so much in that one school. And I felt like it led to opportunities. I felt like I graduated on time because I had professors that cared about me, and so because at my old school I did not. The professors don't care about you. You're gonna drop names, but I feel like the professors do not care about you. And I'm gonna go in with my liquid liner. And sometimes I'm like, okay, well, that's one time where like God didn't answer my prayers, but I feel like God was looking out. He had better in store for me, and I was like really upset that I couldn't get to that school. I'm so thankful that it just didn't end up working that way. I'm so thankful that that was the case, because I felt like God had like much more in store for me. And another testimony that I have, like I'm 28 now, but I feel like I've been getting this question since I graduated undergrad at 22 of like, when are you gonna get married? Like I'm never gonna get down on my knees to propose. Before I start talking, I'm going in under eye concealer. I'm gonna conceal the things that I just want to brighten up my face, to kind of contour my face. But yeah, I'm not gonna get down on my knee and propose to no man. So when people ask me when I'm gonna get married, I'm like, I don't know. But to constantly get that question, like I got that question pretty much right after graduation. Like, okay, so you did this, when are you gonna get married? I'm like, I think that's like, why do people ask that question? Like I'm glad my parents never pushed that on me. It's usually just other people. So a lot of girls where it creates a pressure to just be married. And I think that's what some people manifest. Like, I want to have a boyfriend in 30 days, be married at a certain time. I feel like God's timing has come through in a lot of times where I think I want something and I believe I wasn't ready, or he believes I'm not ready. And maybe it's kind of like what I said before, like maybe it's just not in my spirit. Like even before, when I think about like past relationships where I'm like praying like, God, when am I gonna get married? When am I gonna get married? God, send me my man. Like, is he my man? Is this my husband? And he's not, sis. I'm just letting this settle. I let it settle for a little bit. I was in a relationship for a while. Like everyone could see that this was not the guy for me except for me. But yet I would pray and be like, God, I just want him to get his act together. Get him a job. Just get him some like let him, you know, flourish and stuff. And I was praying and it just wasn't happening, and I felt like God was like also trying to, I feel like God was like, because that's not your husband, this is not the guy that I have for you. I have better plans for you. And sometimes I feel like people rush the process because they have their own goals, like, and they just, and even that's what I was trying to do. I was like, oh, like this is gonna work, it's gonna work, and it just wasn't. And like me and my friends talk about like, how do we know if this is God's timing, if this is God's plan? And I feel like, one, if it doesn't give you peace, then that's not God ordained. Like if you get married to someone and you don't have peace, like I can't imagine like being married to someone and not having peace. And I feel like when I get the question like, oh, when are you getting married, that's rushing it. Like I don't know when I'm getting married. God will tell me when I'm getting married, you know. I'm gonna dab in my concealer, but I'm gonna spray it because you want it a little wet, and then I'm gonna bake everything. But yeah, that's where I'm just at right now, where if you don't have peace about it, then I don't think that's what God wants for you. And I think that's the number one thing to look at. Like, does it give you peace? Not looking for vain stuff like, oh, he has a good job, he's good looking and blah 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 blah, but if he's out here like beating you and cheating on you and all this stuff, is it, and obviously it doesn't give you peace, that's not what God has for you. I always say, like, definitely don't settle, and just being content. I also have to come to a point where I'm just content with singleness. I'm like happy in a lot of areas in my life right now, career wise, my friends, my family, like it's all in a good place. So why would I get into a relationship and be miserable? Like, that's what I'm not planning to accept right now. If someone is going to come into my life right now, you have to add to this happiness. That's where I say you have to be content being single. Like, oh, I'm gonna start baking, so I love to use the Sasha butter cup, and it is on its last leg, but I'm gonna use it. So sorry, but sometimes people up in relationships because they're bored. They want someone to chat them up. They don't want to be lonely. And I think that comes back with me saying that I'm very content with like my family, my friends, where I don't feel lonely because I don't have that feeling, and that it's not gonna make me jump into any old relationship. And also I do get like a relationship loneliness is a little bit different from, you know, a man. I have faith. Also knowing, am I ready? That's another thing too, when circling back around to God's timing. Like, you know, definitely I think about myself back in the day. Like, I also think, even though I was praying for like, okay, now I should get married, I just got my grad school degree, like maybe now I can be somebody's wife. But I also don't think I may have been ready, and it's not my time. Like, it may have not been my time. Like, God knows my time. And obviously when I circle back to manifestation, if you want something, continue to pray on it, but don't just like, it's a difference between praying on it and something happened and you think that's what you manifested, and so it just automatically comes true, and then knowing like, well, okay, like this is what you prayed on, but is it like really what God has for you? And like sometimes I think like maybe God didn't answer prior prayers on past relationships because one, that person wasn't for me, or like sometimes I'll meet a nice guy and I'm like, oh, why is it not working out? And it could be like, maybe there could be also things that I may not be seeing with that person, but also maybe it's still not my time, and I have a feeling that just God has better things in store. Like, there's no ex that I have in my life that I would ever want to get back with. But I'm also thankful for that. I'm thankful that, you know, right now I have a time to like focus on my goals and just also where I would be in life, because I feel like if I gave into things of the past, I may not be in my career. I may not have the friend and family dynamic that I do now. And I feel that also a sense of maturity. Like, you know, back in the day, I was more like, I do what I want and stuff, and just sometimes even combative. And I don't think that's not the wife at least I want to be. I also wanted to talk about like, you know, covetousness and Instagram and things like that nature. But first I have to contour. So I'm going to take this in just to make my cheeks a little. I do that in the process of also while I'm baking. If you're watching this and you know me and you're like, why have it really taking so long to get ready? Now you know. But I'm gonna do better. That's also God's working on me. But yeah, I also want to talk about like that desire mentality. Like also when we look to Instagram, like don't get me wrong, I'm on Instagram a lot. But I think a lot of people, I think the way social media is set up, it creates an envious spirit. See people traveling, we see people with these big houses, we see all these pictures of people getting married and these lavish like weddings and parties, and everyone's out with their friends and stuff, and we get envious. We see people trying to see people in relationships and taking cute relationship goals pictures and stuff like that. And I've also come to relation, like there's two things. Like one, some people, the pictures don't mean a thing. When people post, every time you post something, you're looking for attention. You put it online because you wanted someone else to see it. You didn't just do it for yourself. But like some people just post things just to show the dynamic that may not be happy. You don't know if these people just got in a big argument right before that picture or after, or they just, sometimes it's just a photo of some people take. You see a whole bunch of people take pictures and you're like, oh, they're so cute, they're just so happy, they're living a better life than me, and you don't know what goes on behind closed doors. I don't envy any relationship that I see online because I don't know. Like even when people see like, oh, they're couple goals, I don't think you should look at any celebrity or anybody as couple goals because you don't know what it is. The only thing I take from them pictures is that they are cute pictures, and I would like to take those kind of pictures one day, but I want it to be real and authentic. Like people like look at like Sierra and Russell Wilson, I'm like, yeah, they take cute pictures, but we don't know what goes on behind the door. Like some people like to put on that facade, so you can't look at a whole bunch of people and just like want what they want, like be envious about. There's two things that I take when it comes to being like envious and looking at others and looking at what others have. One, that may be just their blessings, what God blessed them, they pray for them, and then their blessings have come true. And so sometimes you kind of have to be happy for them in that instance because you're praying for your own blessings. So hopefully like when your blessings come, we'll have that same spirit. Like that's their blessing, that's their time. This is when God answered their prayers and timing for them. Or someone can just be putting up a front. Like you can't just look at that. And then even like bodies and working out, and so a lot of this is surgery. Not saying anything's wrong with that, but some things are surgery. And so some people will show you the good but not show you the journey. Like I can show you all the travel pics that I do, but I don't show you like me working all these hours dealing with like obnoxious bosses to get to the point where I am. Like there's things that you just have to take with a grain of salt and know that there's a journey. Or all these people traveling all the time, like, well, how are they doing it? Either they work hard or they doing something to get to those destinations. The whole point of what I'm trying to say is really just like create your own goals. Although it's like I've like just decided to not really set, like work towards my goals, still pray on it, still like, you know, because you know, work without faith is dead. Also work on your goals and stuff, but I don't think it's something I just put on a journal, I pray on a crystal, and then the universe answers it. Like that is not it. Sometimes I wonder like, one, what will happen if God wants it to happen for me in his time, or maybe God has better things in store, so that's why maybe it didn't happen. I got these magnetic lashes off of Amazon, and I'll link that below, that I've been wanting to try for a really long time now. But like I was saying before, I'm still gonna work on my goals. When it comes to goals that it's like beyond my control, I kind of stop putting a time limit on it. Like I'm using, this is the eyeliner for the magnetic lashes. I can't control when I'm gonna get married, so but I'm still gonna pray about it, and then also not rush, and also not feel less than because like say I'm 30 and I'm not married or what have it, or I don't have an age limit, because I think the ultimate goal, sorry about that, I did my lashes off screen, and so they're comfortable. They were very easy to put on, so I'm glad about that. I'm not used to fake lashes. I usually get my eyelashes done, so that's another thing I'm looking forward to when this quarantine is over. So back to kind of what I was talking about in this time period of just reflection. I'm just kind of continuing to pray on what I do want out in life, like, and I encourage that for everyone. Know your goals, want your goals, and have your wants. If you want marriage, if you want family in the future, you want a career, you want a nice car, you want wealth, you have to realize that it will happen in God's timing. It'll happen for you in God's timing, and then also you have to be ready for it, and just maybe realize like what spirit you're in. And when it comes to manifestation, maybe, I don't believe you can I really just don't believe you can manifest everything you want, because I just don't think everything that you want is in your best interest. Could be it's because you want it, but you may want $1 million, but like how I said before, if you have like a spirit of greed or just not the best intentions for that, then it may not be, that may be blocking you from it. So, or say if you want like this luxury car, like one, not to say you shouldn't go for it, what will that add to your spirit? Once you have this luxury car, are you gonna act different? Are you gonna act like, how are you gonna give back? Or do you wanna, is it gonna help you with your desires, your needs? Got to line my lips. I always line with a brown eyeliner, a darker brown eyeliner. It's me, the ultimate goal, I think for a lot of people, is happiness too. But I don't think happiness comes in wealth. I don't think happiness comes with just marriage. Like when I say before, like just because someone is married, doesn't necessarily mean that they're happy. Some people are like, oh, when you're gonna get married, like why are you asking for others to be married for so bad? Because do you believe that equates success? Because that's the thing. I think a lot of things, when people desires and wants, they think that money, marriage, children all equals success. And these are all blessings, but it may not be success for you or for me. It's success for different people. And I think the problem with our society is that we label one thing as success. Like, you have a lot of money, you're a millionaire, you're successful. You're married with a fine husband and 2.5 kids, you're successful. And if that's your definition of success, that's success. But if it's based on other people's definition of success, then that's not successful. Because I've known there's a lot of wealthy people who I wouldn't deem successful because they're not happy. And to me, happiness is the ultimate goal for me. When I'm reflecting on everything that I want in life, as long as it ends up in happiness, then that's how I see myself ultimately being successful. And I just pray and then hope that your goals and things you pray for, one, it'll come in God's timing if it's meant for you, but also realize that it has to be what you deem as successful. This is the end look.